In this video, we're going to talk about workflow in the context of a service catalog request. As you look at the screen here, we're looking at a generic version of the self-service interface. And what we'll do for this example is just do a simple iPhone order. So I'm going to go ahead and click on hardware here and come down to iPhone. So what we're going to do is we're going to order an iPhone, and that's going to kick off a workflow that handles the fulfillment of that item. So before I do that, I'm going to go back in here and explain how to get to the workflow from the item and how you actually tie a workflow to a catalog item. So I've switched back to the Fulfiller UI in ServiceNow. I've actually gone to the Maintain Items section here. I'll go ahead and redo it and jump to an iPhone 5. So that's what we're looking at here is our iPhone 5 catalog item. This is where you define pictures and you can define the description, also define any variables you want to collect for the item. But the possibly the most important part here is workflow, right? What is the actual fulfillment process that's going to execute when this item is ordered? And that's what is defined by selecting the workflow here. This is a little different from some other workflows where you set conditions in the workflow when the workflow will start. With catalog items, you actually explicitly define the workflow that will fire for a given catalog item. So in this case, we're going to be procurement process flow mobile, and I'll go ahead and click on that link right there, which will open up that workflow for me. So as you look at this workflow, currently it's published, and what this is going to do is when the item is ordered, it will execute. It'll actually look at one of the variables. The way I've set this up is it's looking at the data plan that's selected, and if it's the unlimited data plan, we're going to require approval. If not, we'll just automatically approve and then go down to this if here. And so that's what's happening when the item is ordered. It's going to kick off all the things you see here on the screen. And so the next step is we'll come back to our item in the catalog. So switch back over to our self-service portal, and I'll go ahead and order this iPhone. I'll scroll down a little bit here and I will select unlimited. So this is important in that when you define one of these items and you define variables that go along with it, these variables that you define can be passed into the workflow. And so that if statement that I showed, if it was unlimited data, that if is actually looking at this variable here, and if unlimited is selected, we're going to require an approval. So I'll just fill this out and submit it. All right, and now go ahead and click Order Now. So we've placed our order. So now what I'll do is switch over to the Fulfillment UI and switch to the request list. So here is I believe this is our request at the top, and you can see this request. Here's our request record, and then here's that individual item within the request. I'll go ahead and jump into that item. You can notice our unlimited has been selected, so that here's the variables that were passed in and that have been defined and now passed into the item. And so what we want to do is see the runtime view of the workflow for this particular item. And there it is, and you can see that we've come in, and because unlimited data plan was selected, we're requiring an approval. So I'll switch back to the catalog item, the item view here. And as you look down here at the bottom, there's this approvers tab, and we do have one approver. That's the manager in this case. Go ahead and click approve. And now if we switch back to our workflow and refresh our workflow, you can see that it's gone out of the approved path, and now it's gone to our next if activity. In this case, if procurement is turned on, use the procurement system. If it was not turned on, we would just create human tasks. And so the main takeaway here is that workflow it's part of the platform, and it's used for lots of different areas within the platform. But this is how it typically relates to a requested item. You define the workflow for that item, and then when the item is ordered, it's going to execute whatever workflow you've defined. And so that's it. A simple example here of how workflow relates to a catalog request.